taken refuge in the Degas galleries because the museum is packed, teeming with people who are in the way.
Yes, they are in the way. And we're standing in front of a Degas that actually has a title that I'm sure Degas did not assign it. It's called Woman Bathing in a Shallow Tub, and it's from the 80s.
Actually, if you look at the little card that the museum puts up, they actually acknowledge indirectly that Degas just called this suite of nudes.
Right.
And it was part of a larger set, and none of those drawings would have had individual titles.
I think they were a suite of nudes, and then there was a subtitle like women washing themselves, drying themselves, having their hair brushed. But it's funny that the Met feels like they must give it a title, because or else it doesn't actually exist. But it's so interesting that Degas didn't give it a title. I love that.
I like that the Met gives it a title because I think that the Met recognizes that people like to fall in love with these drawings. And I have to tell you that I find it very, very curious. And this comes back to some of the issues we talked about with Renoir. I think that people look at Degas, they expect to see beautiful bathers and ballet dancers. And I think it's so extraordinary that most people don't really look at the drawings, because so often the drawings are so awkward, they're so roughly handled, and the bodies are not particularly beautifully rendered.
No, but it's funny. As a kid, I used to go to the ballet once a year for my birthday, and I would buy Degas postcards of the ballet, and I thought they were beautiful.
But look at this body.
I know, and he does that in the ballet paintings too. They're not beautiful.
It's the most awkward image. We have this torso, which is horizontally set, basically leaning on a kind of tripod of limbs that is...
and there's something incredibly wrong with her limbs. I mean, her right arm...
Where is that coming from?
Makes no anatomical sense whatsoever.
And her left arm is too diminished.
Yes, and too small.
Scale.
The foreshortening isn't right.
The breast is coming out at a very peculiar angle.
Yeah, the breast looks like it protrudes to her side. And on top of it, her face is almost like intentionally obscured, and so she's not even a full human being. She's dehumanized in a way, I think.
He seems to also have taken real pleasure in creating these very sort of angular protrusions, not only the shoulder blade of the left arm, as you would expect, but especially the right hip.
What about the right hip?
Well, I mean, just look at how angular, sort of flattened, and how
squared. And squared, it's true. And also the background doesn't look like it really is the background, and it looks like, around her hips it looks like it comes forward, and it looks like she's crouching down right on top of a vase or a jug of some sort in the background, right under her butt, between the tub and her butt.
There are two containers.
Yeah.
But
this is so bizarrely placed, like she's pooping it out.
Scatological, yeah, it is.
And then the vase underneath, it's this nice feminine hourglass shape, almost making fun of how un-hourglass shaped the woman is in Degas' depiction of her.
So what is it? Do you think that the viewer just wants to retrieve the beauty of the body, even as he so callously and aggressively dismantles it?
It's a very funny thing, because in our advertisements and the visual imagery of our lives, we demand idealized figures. We don't like to see figures who look terribly real, and yet the realism of these doesn't strike us. But it struck Degas' contemporaries, right? These looked like, oh my God, what is he doing to women? He's making them look like animals and dogs, and he was accused of being a misogynist.
There's a different kind of realism here as well, which is that, what is she doing? She's bathing. She's in this shallow, probably zinc tub. She's nude. She's got a sponge in her right hand. She's bending down to wash herself. It's not the kind of image that we would generally want to see of somebody. It's a very intimate image. It is, again, a sort of fragment in time, and in that way related to the Impressionist project. But Degas, of course, unlike somebody like Monet, and this is very apparent even in these relatively late drawings, is so reliant on contour and line.
Absolutely. Look at the space in between her breast and her left forearm that comes, there are lines there, but the way the space is read is completely impossible. The background comes forward.
It's completely ambiguous. It looks, in fact, like something that Manet might have painted.
Exactly. I'm sure this was influenced by Manet. When I think about Degas, and I think about what he's doing with these, the thing that I always think about is this idea of how does one paint a modern nude? What are artists to do with the nude? If you don't want to do Cabanal, if you don't want to do an academic nude of an idealized Venus, and you want to make the nude somehow contemporary and modern. I think that this is Degas' solution to that problem.
So he's willing to accept some sort of conceit or some sort of narrative so that he can actually get the nude into the modern world and portray it.
How else do you do it? He's got to put it in time, right? He's got to make it contemporary. It can't be a timeless Venus. So, there's that, was it a Baudelaire line, where are women nude? The bath, the brothel, and the bath, the brothel, and the anatomy theater were the three places that you could find the modern female nude. So Degas does the bath, that's where women are nude, that's where you're only place you're likely to see, although here we're not really supposed to even be seeing her. That's the great irony of
She
it.
doesn't certainly seem to be aware of our presence.
No.
Which puts us in a slightly uncomfortable position.
And we're very close to her. I mean, if we're peeking through a keyhole, we're too close to her.
We're also looking slightly down.
Right. Yeah, and he was interested in those odd angles of looking at things. Why is it appealing? Maybe the colors, maybe the lovely greens and
maybe
earth
it's not
tones.
appealing in the individual object, especially as we've sort of attacked this painting or this drawing. But maybe, and there's some irony here, maybe it's attractive in the sweep of all of these drawings, in the suite of drawings, and in their sort of cumulative effect, rather than the particular. So what's so interesting about that is that Degas especially was so interested in the particular, unlike so many of the other Impressionists.
What do you mean interested in the particular?
The particular sort of problems of rendering a body at this sort of moment in time, the particularity of her bones and the way that they protrude through her skin, the particularity of the light. It's a very particular moment, and yet I think there's something to this notion that this is a part of a cumulative sort of group of work.
And they all blend in together, too. All the ballet paintings, all the bather paintings, and maybe together they're beautiful.